Thanks, everybody. Whoops. There we go. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those. We're really lucky tonight. We have some guests. Despite the size of the microphone stand, it's not the tiny man from the diamond. But I could, we could do this if you want. I'd like to invite up Maz and Anya from Bump, and we have Ben and Grace here from her friend Adam as well. So we've only got one microphone, so we're going to be passing it around back and forth. I hope that works. I saw Bump a couple of years ago first, and we were very lucky to be able to show it here. This film got into Sundance, apparently, and oh, I don't mean that in a bad way at all. And there's going into Sundance as well, and you actually have another film this year. I saw you down there. You had a film at Sundance, so we've got some really celebrated filmmakers from here in Toronto, and we're very proud to be able to show your work. There was something that I noticed actually by accident when I started putting this program together. The filmmakers from Long Branch were almost going to be here, but they couldn't make it. They're a married couple. You guys are a couple. You guys are a couple. Is there something in the water? I don't know. I guess the question I want to ask each of you, maybe whoever wants to answer, is how does that affect the way that you work together? I mean, it must be great and it must be hard, and how do you keep the boundary, or do you even bother? And I suppose for your film, you didn't at all, but I'd just like to hear a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, No, please. No. I'm curious their answer, but yeah, I mean, we started making films like right out of film school, so like in 2017, and so we always kind of had this relationship of like, we would wear different hats, and Anya would do aside from producing, she's also a great director and a great writer as well. So we would try to kind of find ways to I guess mesh different roles and all of that. I just find it that I'm sure it's the same for you guys. You kind of cut the bullshit where because I do a little bit of acting in our films, and she can come and be like, oh, that was really bad, and so and she can also tell me why it was really bad, and she can explain it, and then we can kind of work on that together. So I just find that you just have someone that you can trust. That's kind of what it means. Obviously, it's difficult because your partner is as well, and you got to navigate all that shit. And so.
Yeah. It is like Matt said. It's easier in a lot of ways, and it's harder in a lot of ways. It's not like an ultimate recipe. It might not be for this screening, but I mean, there are certain challenges, but it's always good to have someone who's got your back no matter what. So yeah, I think that's the main. No matter how hard it is, I think it's worth it. So.
Yeah, I agree. Ben is my favorite collaborator, and we sat down to write our third feature together yesterday, and it's to your question, the lines between creative collaboration and building a future together as partners, very, very blurred. So I think of Ben kind of as just my holistic life collaborator. When I just think of him in that way, in terms of our love life and our creative life, it's just easier. Because I feel there's no division, whether that's healthy or not healthy, who knows, but yeah.
Though to be clear, there is a division between the fiction you saw in our film and the nature of our relationship. In every other respect, I would agree completely with what Grace said.
Yeah.
Completely.
And actually, I've been more jealous in this relationship than Ben, so it's really weird that he made a film about him being jealous of me, because in our real life, actually, I'm the one that has struggled with it more. So, but I'm over it now.
I just remember when we showed your film the first time, and I thought this couple, they've got days left in their relationship. Like it's not gonna. I was so worried. I mean, I just didn't know what was real and what wasn't real.
Well, when James asked us to come, he said, "Just so I know for the Q&A, are you guys still together?"
I mean, I don't know. Right? It's
Valid
6
question.
years, 7 years. I don't know. 7 years ago, probably since you filmed it. So congratulations. They're very different films, obviously. The way that you put your insecurities like on the screen, I was sort of like, I was amazed. I was so impressed, but I was like, oh my God, how do you do that? I don't know what your other work, if it has been that personal, or if you even felt that was personal. I don't know. But do you think that, like, I guess you've done work after that together that was very different. Would you revisit anything like this in the future, or do you think it's better to probably leave that off the screen?
I mean, this one is like based on a kernel of truth that then was kind of extrapolated. But the second film that we made together, the second feature length that we made together, which is my first, which I'm editing right now, is based way more on our life than this one was. The boundary is like sandpapered down to the raw nub, which actually makes it less extreme in the emotions dramatized, because this film is kind of blown up to another level of like high octane emotion. But the film that we just made, you should speak to it too, Grace, but yeah, I seem to have not learned my lesson from this one and gone even further in the direction of taking from our life. Yeah, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, this next one that he's made is way more personal. It's shockingly personal.
What's it called?
What is it called?
There's a title TBD. The working title is Getting Our Dog.
Getting our dog. Well, you're daredevils. You're doing your own stunts. Whatever you want to say, that's fantastic. Your film, I mean, you did your own stunts, I suppose. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, it looks like it was shot very, guerrilla style, documentary style, whatever you want to say. One of my favorite parts is the second bump when the truck isn't right. You don't even see it, you just see him on the ground. I guess you must have filmed this, like it looks like one shot, but you probably did it a few times. Can you talk about doing the film like just on the street that way with, I'm not sure, you probably didn't have permits or anything like that. What were some of the challenges, and I guess how many times did you have to do it to get it right?
Yeah, and that truck was lucky. That just happened. Like, I was like, holy shit, like when I saw that. My DP was like, we have to do it again. I was like, no, that's it. Like, that's the one. Yeah, I mean, like, these guys know I'm a huge Matt Johnson fan. For anyone knows who that is, like, he's just goes out in the street and just films. And, like, we did this with $200. And, yeah, like, with just some friends. And I was like, oh, I'll act. Like, I'll do it. And so, yeah, and also to speak on the personal stuff. Like, I mean, like, I think every man has been in that situation where they just don't want to let it go. And I just like, it was personal in some regards. Like I've like Anya's seen me and she's had to pull me away a couple of times. So I guess the relationship. Yeah. And so, yeah, like we did it, I think we did it 8 times, and we did some rehearsals as well, a lot of improv. I think that last take we did a lot of improvising. Yeah, we just like, the goal was always to just make each other laugh as well. Like, we're just like, let's just make this the most ridiculously insecure thing like we can. Like, he says things like, I'm a shower and a grower, and just like, we just kept doubling down on it as much as we can. And I'm trying to think what else. Like, yeah, there was a lot of challenges. I think the cops shut us down like right away, even though I don't think they can, but they did. And the other
Yeah, it was interesting. We shot in 2 locations. First couple takes in one, second couple takes in the other. And the first location was a little bit too ghetto. It was a little bit too. A lot of people approached us for the wrong reasons.
I almost got knifed. But it was really good, but the other guy wasn't mic'd, so we just didn't want it to feel like a Sacha Baron Cohen thing too much. Like, we wanted it to feel cinematic and all of that, but because the other guy wasn't mic'd, we didn't really want to use it. And it also took away from our argument that this random guy just came out of nowhere and just wanted to murder me.
Are there any questions from the audience? I'd like to open it up for either all of the filmmakers.
Can I just quickly, the other actor in our film, Andrew Chan, is here too. Andrew,
Oh,
will you
Andrew.
join as well?
Question right here.
For both, for both filmmaker groups, is comedy a genre that you want to continue pursuing? Does that feel like a passion, or did it just happen to be this particular story?
I'll just repeat the question. Is comedy a genre that you want to keep pursuing, or was it just, did it fit this particular story?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the last one we did is actually funny enough. Like, they really inspired us. Like, we shot in our apartment, and like it has more to do with my dad and like Iranian culture and all that. And we're like, oh, we should try to do something like, you know, like in our apartment since, you know, COVID and everything. And so that ended up being like a darker comedy, I guess. It's still funny, but like in an absurd way. I think like I don't fight it like when I'm writing it. Like I don't go, oh, I'm just gonna make people laugh. Like I think. Like when you write something as absurd as like checking someone's phone, or like it's gonna be funny. Like but I don't like sit down and write like jokes. Like I try to avoid doing that. But I guess comedy has always found like a way like into my work.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like a comedy, but more like a drama with comedic elements, or like a darker comedy. But yeah, we don't sit down and intentionally make something funny. It just kind of happens. We just, do it.
Yeah, I realized like the more I've acted and stuff, like for me, I realized like it has to have comedy. Yeah, I think it's kind of like integral to the work that I choose to do. So it's got to be funny, or else I don't really understand why. So for me, comedy, yes.
I would agree, yeah, and I would agree with the sentiment that it's not by design so much as by compulsion.
Your company's called Funny Bone, so I assume you're going to do funny stuff. But any other questions from the audience? Yeah.
For her friend Adam, I was wondering about the production design, the artwork. I really liked it. I like what I saw on screen, and I was just wondering about like who designed it, as well as like how that influenced the characters.
The question is for her friend Adam about the production design. He really enjoyed the paintings and the production design. He wanted to know who did that and how it contributed.
So the production designer herself was a woman named Michaela Karimsky. She's also a great actor. So she did the apartment in general, but then the paintings, the Minnie Mouse painting was done by my childhood friend, who's since grown up into a very adult individual, as you can see. But all the other paintings were done by Grace, and she did them. That apartment was rented for the movie. So it was empty when we got it, but then Michaela filled it up with stuff, and then we had Grace stay in the apartment for, I don't know how long, Grace.
It's like a night.
A night, and stay in there with the paint and do as much of the paintings as she could in there. But all of the other paintings were her, and a lot of them were done in the space to try and just build that sense of her being comfortable painting in that studio. You want to add it?
Yeah, I think like the direction I think he bought me a pizza and dropped off some beer and some paint supplies, and then just said like, make them dirty. And I think that was like the only direction, and then we came up with those. So it was fun.
Any other questions? No? Okay, I want to ask you what you're doing next, what either you're working on now or what's recently come out, and you could tell us how we can see it.
So we just had another short that we're very lucky to have at Sundance. It's called Bubba. I think it's going to be on Vimeo soon. Yeah, hopefully. And then we're working on a feature that's kind of in the same, like closer to Bump than the other short. It's just like something that just like a very trivial thing that just turns our eye, and we're just having a lot of fun like working on that.
I directed Ben and I in a film called Tito that played at South by in 2019. You can find that on Prime or iTunes. And then I also directed us in my second feature film a couple months ago called Dead Lover that will submit to festivals in like a year.
And I'm editing that dog movie right now. Andrew, what are you doing? Come on, I know you're up.
I did a play this fall. I'm going to do one this summer, and I'm acting when I can.
All All right, I'll say thank you guys. We really love showing your films, so we hope that we'll see you again. Thanks, everybody. You should have received a ballot when you came in. I hope you have time to fill that out. We will be giving away, like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, like $100 or something for the film that's the most popular. And if you want to check our website and socials tomorrow, we'll let you know who won. You can drop that off on your way out at the table that you passed on the way in. We also have like a sign-up list if you're not on our mailing list. There's some merch there if you like. Their stickers are free if you just take one. That would be great, and the rest of the stuff is reasonably priced. We're hoping to do this again in June. Just follow us online or get on our newsletter. That's the best way to find out. We'll be back here at the Carlton, and our festival is in November this year, November 17th to 19th, and we'll be back here at the Carlton. Thanks again.
Thank you, James.